I am so sorry it's been so long, but I'm sure you all um, can say the same that there has been a lot going on internally and externally, and I always want to come up here with as clear a mind and heart as I possibly can before speaking because I feel responsible to do that. I feel like that's how I should show up. But today, I was just like, hit record, talk. Because there has been so many times over the last few months where I talked myself out of recording just because I knew that I was still in the middle of some huge transitions that I needed to go through. And I didn't want to impress my personal thoughts, feelings, and emotions before I got to get clarity in my thoughts, feelings, and emotions. So thank y'all for being patient with me. Those of you that are tapped in from before today and you're returning, I appreciate you coming. And all of you that are listening to me for the first time, thank you for being here. This space is a loving space, a place I come to share my love communications, hoping to just participate in life and speak to the curiosity we all are exploring. And here we are. So today I was feeling so compelled to come up here because I wanted to I got a message. I got a message and I've been having this message for a few weeks now, and but today I really knew it was time to speak on it. So last night I had a dream that I rushed and I was running to get into a car. It was me and a bunch of other people that I knew. Some people I didn't know. I just knew it was bodies there. But we got into the car. The car was yellow. And it wasn't like a bright yellow, it was just yellow. And we were rushing because in the area that we in, gunfires was happening, and it was like the citizens of the area were shooting at police officers and government officials, and it was scary. I felt the fear in the moment initially, but then it's like when I got into the car I calmed down, but everybody that was in the car with me was still very high in emotional reaction. And I was still feeling the urgency to get out the area, but I knew I had to like stay calm. So we're driving, and on the right side of me, I can see people in the street shooting at people on the sidewalk. And right in front of me, there were people shooting too. So I steered to the left, and I wound up driving up on the curb, passing a mailbox, which was it stood out to me a lot, the mailbox. And as I was approaching the mailbox, I heard gunfire hitting the car, but it didn't go through the car. Nobody in the car got shot. So I wound up pulling into a neighborhood just a few blocks away, and it was people outside because they obviously had heard the gunfire too. So when I pulled into the neighborhood, we get out the car, and people are coming up to us asking us what's going on because this particular neighborhood that we drove into, it was like they were protected from the craziness, but they knew something was happening and they were terrified. So we got out and we was explaining to them what was going on, and we were kind of like, you know, giving them play by play of what we had experienced. And I was just trying to tell people, calm down. It's okay. Just stay in the neighborhood. We're safe here. And so I wound up going into one of the houses, into the basement, and there was a girl in there, um, or a woman in there that I knew from my old neighborhood. We used to be the best of friends, and she was shocked to see me, and I was shocked to see her. And I was just telling her like, um, don't go out there, don't go out the neighborhood, stay here. It's a war breaking out there. And so she, for some reason, that was it. I said what I said to her, and I left back out. And when I got back outside, now this neighborhood had, it was all different races of people. It wasn't just like, I'm a black woman. It wasn't just a black neighborhood. So this woman, a white woman, she was so terrified. I could feel her anxiety and her fear. And I was just trying to calm her down and tell her, just stay here. We're going to be okay. They're out there fighting. Don't worry about it. Just calm down. She was not trying to hear me. She was cursing at me. Get out my face. I don't want to hear you. Da 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 da. Now, fast forward, the dream went from it being the evening to the next morning. And um, I seen a car that was getting ready to leave the neighborhood. So I walked over to the car. It was the same woman from the day before that was yelling and cursing at me. Um, and she had her kids in the car, and she was just like, we have to leave. And I was telling her, you really are safe here, but if you're going to leave, go out that way, and I was pointing her in the safe direction for her to go. And, I was just wishing her the best, and she was apologizing for the day before, and that she was just really scared, and she didn't mean to offend me in any way. And I was telling her, don't worry. I understand you were scared, and I'm praying for you. I hope you guys have a safe trip. Talking to her and her children, and the kids that was in the car was thanking me, and she, she left the neighborhood, and I woke up, and I knew when my dreams are that detailed, and I could feel the emotions in it, I know it's a message. So of course I wrote the dream down, and I just was taking my time like I normally do. I did my morning ritual, um, you know, and then, part of my morning ritual is always prayer and meditation. So before I got into my meditation, I was just asking my spirit team, please, give me more detail on what this was about. And the message was so clear. So it's a couple of things I want to point out about the dream. First, the yellow car to me was um, a symbol of confidence, of um, just standing in my power of um, knowing better, knowing the truth, and I used that yellow car to get me where I had to go. So that was very, very powerful to me, and very clear on understanding that. And then the mailbox was a symbolism of a message, of messages. And it was just clear that the dream was trying to give me a message. And me taking the right path was going to provide me what I needed to know and where the right path to go in. And the fact that I went up into a neighborhood that was, I just knew it was a protective space. It was a community that was protected. And the people in the car with me were clear on that too, even though we all were initially shocked by what was going on and the chaos that was erupting. The fact that citizens were out in the street fighting and shooting back at what we know as the authority was a huge sign. And I'm not going to go too deep into that because, well, we all know all the things that's happening right now. And I don't really have an opinion on that. And I'll tell you why in a little bit. But clearly, there's a dismantling of life as we knew it. Clearly, there's a breakdown of authority, of the foundation that was established for us. And whenever there's change, chaos comes first. I know there's a famous quote about it, but I can't think of it right now. But there's always chaos before great change. And another thing that has been coming to me in my meditations and messages that I've been getting is that we all are to, we're stepping into a new way of life. And there's been a lot of talk about a shift that's coming, a shift is happening, the great change is coming. A lot of hype about 2025. And um, what has been standing out to me, and I've heard it in different ways being talked about with other people, is that the heart space is taking a new step in our reality, in our perception, in guidance. We have been very much an ego based civilization, a patriarchal domination, power, money, greed, sex civilization for so long. And we're shifting out of that. And what, I want to say this the right way so that it makes sense. There's change happening and there's chaos happening because of the change, but we're not supposed to go into fear. And that's easy to say with words, but the way that I've been gaining understanding around that is that if we've been doing the work to know thyself, right, that has tapped us into getting closer to God, the Creator. It has allowed us to get messages and understanding from our ancestors and whatever other spiritual guides that have been participating in our growth, our cleansing out the old and gaining the new. And this shift that we've been talking about is very much surrounding love and faith, a commitment to not feeling like we have to react as a way of taking action. We we are supposed to be moving out of the fear by remaining faithful and picking up ritual of prayer, meditation, grounding, loving on ourselves, because in doing that, we should have been having experiences of gaining information to know how to make the next step. And the faithfulness means that we're not going to know exactly how things are going to play out. But if you are moving righteously, and righteously to me means that you're being authentic. You're allowing yourself to ground and hear from your higher self, from God, from your ancestors, Holy Spirit, Orishas, who, whatever your spiritual guidance is coming from. And knowing that, opening yourself up to this being the new way of taking action. Then there's so much more detail in that that I'm going to get into, but I want to be clear on how I say that. But overall, ground yourself, seek out love for you, which is loving everyone else. It's not an individual me, I, because we are all connected. But in order to know how your the bigger puzzle is going to come together, you have to identify with what your piece of the puzzle is, what your purpose is, what your call to life is. And that is by grounding, that is by cleansing out the old, that is getting rid of fear and saying and understanding that you to be faithful and committed to knowing the truth about you and what you're supposed to do is going to offer you the guidance, and you will find your community, you will find you will find safety, security, and you won't be penetrated as much as those that are still living in fear, that have not taken time to find solitude so that they can get clarity and get guidance. And this beautiful people could be the very people you lay in bed with every night. It can be your coworkers. It can be your best friends that you've known since you were a child. And so many I've heard so much on this journey that cut people out your life, get them out your life, right? I think I might have even said it. But now I'm starting to understand that through love and compassion, because we are all reflections of each other and we're all connected, there's there's a okay, let me back up a little bit. I'm going to tell y'all a personal story really quick. I had 2 months ago, I was in a very strange space. I was feeling very much like a victim and poorly treated, disrespected, not regarded by somebody I hold so dear to me, right? And I was starting to build resentment and just wanted to cut ties and not really have anything to do with this person. And that was hurting me too. So I started praying very, very hard and deeply to check myself, like, because victimhood to me comes from fear, or because I don't have control of something, and lack of feeling like I have lack of control is from fear, and I don't want to live that way. So I started asking for guidance on what to do. How can I fix this? How can I make this right? And it came so clear. When I seeked help and clarity, the answer came. Take a closer look. And when I looked closer, the compassion came for this person. And I didn't look down on the person. I just realized that I was able to see them. I was able to see why they do and react and behave the way that they do. And it's nothing personal against me. It was nothing personal against me. They were just in their space of reality. And so I was able to say, okay, I could love them from there. I know how to love them from there. I know how to interact with them right from there. Because now I no longer have the expectations for them to show up for me in a way that doesn't go with the way that they are living their life for themselves. And ever since that day, I am consciously, I'm aware of that. And in the relationship, the love is still there, but the relationship is different. And it's okay, right? I didn't have to go through this whole I forgive, let go, get out of my life. I was able to seek truth, see the truth, and live in the new truth through love and compassion for me and them. And it didn't come in one day, but I allowed myself to not be reacting. I wasn't reactive to it. I allowed myself to be guided in how to deal with it. But because we've been living, excuse me if y'all hear my little doggy, he whines when I don't let him in my room. Um, but this is what we need to, this is what I'm learning, the new reality. That is a part of the new reality, the shift, the living from love and less from ego. Because ego is needing control, ego is fear, ego is being off balance and not having real clarity. But when you are grounded in your heart and you allow yourself to receive guidance because you're seeking guidance, it will show up for you the more you show up for it, the more you release the old. I hope I'm making sense. I really hope I'm making sense. But that's what I wanted to get up here and say today. I feel like it. I had to because it's happening. The change is happening, and depending on where we are individually, reality will look different. And if you still find yourself fighting and having all of this fear and negative reactions, keep digging deeper. Keep praying and meditating. And those of us that feel do suffer from anxiety or depression, St. John's wort and lavender oil. You can make it as a tincture. You can make it as I mix it with shea butter. It can be something you just rub on your skin if you want to mix it with vitamin E oil, um, coconut oil to just put on your body to relax. I listen to very calming music. I meditate. I have my rituals every day. I wake up and I give gratitude. Number one, I wake up and I give gratitude for everything that I can think of to be grateful for because that definitely sets a tone for me. And I'm just naming things that I do, but definitely do what is going to give you your calm and relax you and allow you to just find your peace because there's a lot more change coming, which means it can seem very chaotic for, if not you, those outside of you that are close to you, and they're going to need you. They're going to need your peace. If you love them and you are interacting with them, they're going to need you to pray over them and offer safety and sensibility if you can, if you have the capacity to do that for them. If not, just like I always say, love yourselves like only you can. Okay? I'm gonna go and I will be back soon. I will. I could feel it. I'll be back soon. But take care of yourselves. I appreciate y'all. Okay? Peace.